Alright guys, welcome to the second day of the WCS Challenger League Qualifier. We have actually a really nice game for our opening match today. This is the first game in the best of 3 between Hyvaa and Jaehoon, aka Argo. So two Casper players that we have currently in game number 1 on Daybreak, and this is pretty cool. With me of course is once again Wolf.
Hi guys.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I just got here a little bit late today, but I'm good, ready to go, very well rested. And I'm excited for the matches just as I was yesterday before. The qualifiers here is just such an intense environment, and I'm so glad that GoTV gave us the permission to cast these games. I'm
really excited to see those two guys in the first round, by the way. It's actually the second round, but it's the first game that they have to play because they got a free win in the first round. But it's really amazing that we have them facing each other this early in the game. Hyvaa is a great Casper player, is a really good record in Pro League. Jaehoon, on the other hand, he's a player that really amazed me with his performance in a few weeks ago. So this is very unlucky for both of them, but it's of course awesome for us as spectators to have such a cool game in the first round.
Yeah, and only one can survive here. That's all it is. In the qualifiers, there's no second chances. It's just all best of 3s all the way to the finals. Looks like we're going to have a Nexus first from Jaehoon, as he's not sent the probe down. When I say Jaehoon, of course I mean Argo. He's changed his ID from his real name to Argo, but he wants to check and see if it's a hatch first from his opponent, and he wouldn't be able to punish it anyway since he doesn't have a forge, but nice scout there by Hyvaa.
Yeah, I really like the scout that he just pulled off. That's something that a lot of Zerg players will do, because proxy pylons at this location are still something that can happen, and if he does, especially in such a best of 3 environment in a tournament, you feel a little bit silly if you lose to it. Yeah. So a nice scout by Hyvaa takes the hatch now as the second building started, of course, with the pool first. For the reason that we all know, if there is a forge first play, then you always want to have the opportunity to get the links out early so that you can take them out. And interestingly enough, we have Argo not with the Nexus first as we originally suspected. He actually went into the forge first play, and just now throws down the natural.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised he added the forge so late, but he ends up going for it just the same. Very safe build. He saw the spawning pool timing, and maybe that was what made him decide that's what he wanted to do. His probe, though, unintended here, almost got taken out instantly, but he will escape with it at least a little bit longer. Notice the Zergling skin on those Zerglings make them look like they've got a mohawk.
Yeah, indeed they do. That's actually one of the skins that I don't really like too much. I don't mind that mohawk thing, but once they have speed and they suddenly unfold their wings, it looks a little bit weird. That's the one thing that I really don't like about the new skins. The Zealot skin is something that is sometimes a little bit too much too, depending on the color of your opponent, but still, in general, it's something that I actually like.
Yeah, you know, this is for me, like, from now on, going to be called the Whiplash skin, because all the Zerglings have just like a faux hawk that sticks up in the middle of their head like DJ Wheat does too.
And he just saves his probe. I actually can't believe it.
Yeah, I can't believe it either. That was insane.
So close. So he saves the probe, scouting information for Argo, aka Jaehoon, in this game. He doesn't really know about the third base, but he's suspecting that there is going to be a third, but he wants to confirm that later on, because it could still be a 2-base play from his opponent. As you can see, he has no information about the third hatchery being placed down. On the other hand, we have Hyvaa now with Overlords in positions everywhere. He knows that at this point, before the Cybernetics core is done, there is no chance for anti-air units being present in the game, and therefore he can still scout the main base, can look out for where exactly those pylons are, so that he knows exactly where tech could be hidden later on.
Yeah. Lings are just checking out the rocks right now. Want to make sure that later on, if he wants to go for a frontal attack, he has the opportunity. Might as well use him while he's got him. He has the Overlords to see everything else. There's no reason to have the Lings in the front, because you can see the forge.
The pylon at the bottom, you can already see that will be spotted by the Overlord, so Hyvaa will... Oh, did he miss it? No, I actually saw it. So he knows that there's a pylon where tech could be hidden later on. He will definitely double check as soon as the core is done and the time for the tech has come, and we have a tech choice going into the Stargate here for Argo.
Yep, he wants to go Stargate, and this is hidden so far from the Overlord. The first Stalker will be able to keep the Overlord away if he sends it in the right direction, but if the Overlord sacrifices himself right now, he should be able to get in there, especially because the Stalker moved away and he knows that, so he's probably going to try to come in here around the back and see that Stargate.
And we have now gas being taken for Hyvaa. Roughly around the 6-minute mark, he started with his extractors, so he will have gas for his tech. And here comes the Overlord as suspected. Both of them are moving in. One moving into the bottom pylon, and the other one trying to get a glimpse at the natural. And he already knows that there is a Stargate. The Chrono boost on the Phoenix is also visible, so at this point Hyvaa knows exactly what he's up against.
Yep, starts a lair immediately. Runs the Overlords away. He knows they're going to die to not only the Stalker, but the Phoenix later as well.
You know, the interesting thing here is that he goes into lair right away, even before he starts hitting speed, after he scouts the Stargate opening. He knows exactly that there are not a lot of gateway units right now. He already had the second Overlord in the main base, so he looks at this and is like, well, I actually don't need my fast speed against you. I'm completely fine going into my lair tech first, and now he has the choice of going into Swarm Host, going into a more standard procedure with Hydralisks, for example, as long as he has the anti-air to deal with the Phoenixes initially.
Yeah. Notice that that new Overlord animation is so cool, by the way. When the Phoenix is killed, it dies in a fantastic death. It's going to happen again here once more. And well, that was actually a more normal Overlord animation. That was like the old animation, but he's killing a lot of Overlords here, though. I mean, the scouting Overlords are one thing, but he's starting to rack up some kills regardless.
Yeah, he's racking a few of them up, but on the other hand, so far there was no supply block for Hyvaa, so really well done by the Zerg player. And now he's going into the Hydras, and with the Hydralist he can of course also try to hit a timing here and push out. The question is always, what exactly will Argo do? And right now he wants to go into the classic transition, going into the robotics facility, and then he will start his bay to also get a few Colossi out there against the Hydralist transition. But as you already said, a lot of damage done here, kills a couple of Harvesters, took down 5 in total, and also the Overlords. Those Phoenixes definitely worth the money.
Yeah, they certainly were, and I mean, it could have been worse, but he's accomplished a little bit here, and he still has that map control, and those are those wings you were talking about. They get a little bit insane once they evolve into Speedlings, so with this skin. Robotic support bait coming out now, and this is what he wants against the Hydras, but is he going to try to take a third base and get the Colossi out with this few gateway units? I think it's a bit risky. He's actually putting himself at risk right now, as it is with the Lings coming in for the flank.
Uh-oh, the Lings are coming in right now, and he needs good force fields. The force fields are decent, but he's baiting out a lot of energy here, and this is a lot of pressure that Hyvaa is currently executing. So Argo, he has to be very careful how to approach this. Getting this third up and defending it is not going to be easy, not at all.
Yeah, he just loses a few Zealots, as it is right now over at the Natural, as meanwhile a harassment with the Phoenix goes on. The Queen gets a little bit too far away from the Spore Crawler, will be taken out. It's going to be some injects lost, but the Phoenix need to be careful as the Hydras just popped.
Only 4 of them, though. And
yeah, he could pick them up.
He could actually start to fight against the Hydralists as long as there are only a few of them. Speed for the Hydras is soon to be done. And let's look at this. We actually have a cancel on the expansion.
Yeah, and he's adding gateways. He could just try to hit a Colossus timing.
He might as well. You know, in a situation like this, a Colossus timing is doing you an awful lot of good. And we have Hyvaa now with the information that there is no third base. So he's expecting an attack on 2 bases now.
More Phoenix harassment going on at the third base, picking off those Hydras. Like you said, if there's a small number of Hydras, you can just pick them off and kill them. Even drones getting taken out here, utilizing that Phoenix energy really well. And a crazy thing that we see here is at the 11:30 minute mark, the Protoss player has a supply lead.
And what we also see is that Hyvaa immediately throws down the Spire and the Roach Warren after he saw the cancel on the third base. He realizes that there's most likely going to be an attack against his bases from the Protoss on 2 bases, and this always requires for me to go into Corruptors because you want to have something against the Colossi and you don't have the time to get out the Vipers.
Yeah, and you want to have a few Roaches in the mix as well, because Hydralists alone just melt too quickly. Even if there's Corruptors to defend them, they die so fast, and then once the Corruptors are in there, they're useless, so you have to have a few Roaches in the front to tank the damage, the Hydras to the real damage from behind. But as it is, Argo is actually going for a third yet again.
Yeah, I think Argo just cancelled his third base because he realized that he could never hold it against the Hydralisks. Then when he saw that Hyvaa was retreating with his army preparing to defend, then he went out and took the third again. But it means that he lost a lot of time. Time where we had Hyvaa in a position already mining from 3 bases and getting his tech up. So this is definitely something where Hyvaa could capitalize on the economy that he has and overpower Argo later on in the game.
Yeah, it's definitely something that could occur, and Hyvaa, with this 4th base secured, he knows that while Argo is taking his own third, he's going to be free from attacks. There's no way that Argo can defend his 3rd base against Ling Run Buys and attack the 4th, so this is a really smart timing for him to take his 4th base. He has a large enough army to defend and be safe.
We have talking about the army size, I mean, we have a 74 army supply for Hyvaa, 83 now for Jaehun, aka Argo. But you can really see that now the tech choice has been made. We have Corruptors, we have Roaches coming in, and the middle of the map is still controlled by our Zerg player, who's currently supply block, but only for a few seconds before the next set of Overlord pops. The Colossi are being researched right now, and we also have a completed upgrade into range. But not a lot of attack upgrades for the Protoss player, only +1, whereas our Zerg is now heading into +1 attack on his own, and he has a much bigger army at this point already.
Yeah, he certainly does. +1 is so late here, and if chrono boosted correctly, he could have +3 before +1 is even done.
The Corruptor's actually moving in here, trying to find out if they can maybe snipe a Colossus, take down a Phoenix, and also, of course, get those important scouting information. But he needs to retreat because the main body of the army for the Protoss play is now heading out with 3 Colossi, and he needs to back up here.
And the really crucial thing is Argo knows those Corruptors are out of position. So he knows that if he attacks right now while these Corruptors are flying over his base, then there's not going to be any there to defend. This is so smart by him to attack at this moment. Well, he knows the Corruptors are away. Coming in here now, the Hydras have to engage or force losing his bases.
And here comes the Protoss player moving in right away, taking down the first Spore Core. The Hydra is not there just yet, and neither are those Corruptors. They're still on the way back. The force fields actually shield the Protoss army from attacks from the side.
Now the Corruptors come in from the left side. The Colossi, though, still doing a good amount of damage. Needs to target that one, though, to the north. It's kind of on its end, attacking an Evolution Chamber. Now it fights.
Really nice corruption, but the big problem is that the main army wasn't there yet, so all the Stalkers just focused on the Corruptors, and 2 of the Colossi are still alive. Both of them dying now to the Hydras, but Hyvaa is losing so much army.
Yeah, he's losing a lot here, and the reinforcements are coming. That base that you just highlighted is about to be killed as well. And the Natural, I don't think it's savable at this point. He's pulling drones, and this may just end up being game. He does not have a large enough army to defend. The Hydra's all clumped up here.
The drones have been pulled already, all of them clumped up and getting the splash damage from the Colossus. Hyvaa is plummeting down in supply, down to 90, and there is GG as Argo takes game number 1.